The C-SPAN networks bring you long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital. C-SPAN, created by cable.
What I would at least bring to discussion.
Well, you're right, I'm from down south.
Oh, God, it's Mom.
And I'm your mother.
Boring.
Just to make your opening statement.
And who said politics couldn't be fun? Ladies and gentlemen, supes and supervillains, we have the second last episode of the season, setting us up for a giant confrontation between the boys and hashtag Team Homefront. And there is a lot to talk about, including the fate of Black Noir, Lamplighter, and of course, which porn is my favorite. Also, special shout out to this video's sponsor, Brave May's Vegetarian Pride Lasagna, for when you're feeling gay. Now get your strap on in, because here we go. First off, this episode has to be the most political yet. It begins with a segment about how one man is slowly radicalized by far-right propaganda. They paint this guy out to be the stereotypical white male incel. He lives alone with his mother, is ignored by women, and every waking moment is surrounded by radio, television, and news that depicts the problem with society as supervillain immigrants. Basically, it gives this guy someone to blame his shitty life on. Stormfront knows the power of making people rally against a common enemy.
A common enemy rallies the base.
I wonder where she picked that up. The radio host he listens to sounds exactly like Alex Jones. He's known for his conspiracy theories.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Vought News is a substitute for Fox News, which propagates right-wing talking points like more funding for counterterrorism, the police, and border security to counter the encroaching supervillain threat. Just substitute supervillain for immigrant and you see what the writers of The Boys are doing here. This is one of the most scathing portrayals of right-wing politics in America. In the credits, this character's name is Tommy Peterson. They could have just called him Tommy. Why add this last name, Peterson, unless it's a nod to controversial political figure Jordan Peterson, who is known for his following of predominantly young white men. There's also some fun news bits here, like Stormfront defending a fan who attacked a homeless immigrant, or Congresswoman Newman's college dance videos resurfacing. As I outlined in my last video, Victoria Newman is based off real-life Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who also had a bunch of her college dances go viral. At the convenience store, there are tons of soup product placement, like A-Train Peeps, Frosted A-Train cereal, Starlight skincare products, and my favorite, Black Noir shaving kit. It's here Tommy thinks he sees the eyes of the convenience store clerk glow, believing him to be one of those supervillain immigrants he's heard so much about. And with online memes saying immigrate legally or die, and Stormfront on the TV saying it's up to us, we have to make our voices heard, Tommy takes matters into his own hand and kills the clerk, who's not a soup at all. Later, Stormfront and Homelander will say how this was a tragedy. They'll make a donation and send thoughts and prayers. They know that their rhetoric is riling up a base of hate, and how their actions will do nothing to stop further attacks. Lamplighter, the boys, and Victoria go over the story they're going to tell at the House Judiciary Committee, how Vought was injecting Compound V to patients at Sage Grove and committing terrible crimes, including murder. But Victoria says they need the full picture. They can't just know what Vought did, they need to know why they did it. Starlight meets with her mother at a local coffee shop. She's not just pissed at her mother for being overbearing, but that her beliefs growing up were all a lie. She used to be a passionate member of Capes for Christ, but now it's all bullshit.
The good guys don't win. The bad guys don't get punished. What we do means nothing. It's just all for money.
Mother tells her that the two of them should just get away from everything before they're tear-gassed, and Starlight gets the crap kicked out of her by Black Noir. The boys are tasked with their missions. Frenchie will make sure Newman stays alive, Butcher gets sidetracked with a call that his father is dead, and Huey is tasked with watching over Lamplighter, who loves porn. Lots and lots of porn. Huey and Lamplighter talk about how their lives have gotten sidetracked.
Now look at me, sitting on the sidelines while the real heroes are out there doing the fucking.
Huey feels like he's useless, turning into his father who did nothing after his mom died. He's just like a cuck in one of Lamplighter's pornos.
Actually, you're worse. You're the cuck fluffer.
Homelander and Stormfront kiss publicly for the first time at one of their rallies. He's totally on Team Stormfront after she told him the truth about her past. He, like Stormfront, wants to get the people on their side so that their plan of creating an army of soups to bolster the white man can prevail.
We need more Compound V.
Absolutely.
We need more soups.
And it's here we learn Starlight is apprehended for aiding the boys in the murder of Translucent. She's been held on Vought's 42nd floor in a special cell where she's unable to use her power. With the news of Starlight's imprisonment, Huey convinces Lamplighter to save her from Vought Tower. After all, they're not cucks, right? And Butcher finds Denethor, his father, isn't dead at all. Fun fact, actor Carl Urban, who plays Butcher, was also in The Lord of the Rings. He played Éomer. Butcher and the old man don't get along, largely because it was the way his father brought him up which led to his brother Lenny's death. In the comics, Lenny died in a bus accident in 1986. However, in the show, Father says Lenny shot himself. He was an overbearing father, and he believes that Butcher should be thanking him for preparing him for the harsh world.
It's a shit world out there. You can't rely on no one but yourself. You either sink or you swim.
But that's exactly the opposite of what Billy needs to learn, especially when it comes to the boys. He needs to trust them, and the scene ends with Father suggesting Lenny's death was triggered by Billy leaving him, something he doesn't take too kindly to. Homelander tells Stormfront that it's a mistake to keep Starlight alive. As we saw 2 episodes ago, Stormfront seems to have some sort of use for Starlight.
You're gonna be a big help to me.
Stormfront sees a small child which reminds her of her own, and this is one of those rare times we actually see her express her true feelings. This compels Homelander to introduce her to his son Ryan, as they slowly work to remove him from Becca to create their own weird superhero family.
I want us to be a family.
Elena and Maeve break up. After she saw what Maeve did with the airplane, she can't be with her anymore, and it frustrates Maeve, spiraling her into some meaningless sex with some dudes.
This is not lesbian. This is not on brand.
Mother's Milk and Grace Mallory visit Dr. Vogelbaum, the scientist we saw in Season 1 who raised Homelander in the Vought lab. They want him to do the right thing and testify against Vought, but he won't because he knows it would put his family in danger.
But some things are more important than the right thing.
This is a direct contrast to Butcher's approach, who visits Vogelbaum a bit later, and in total Butcher fashion, he just runs over the grass with his car. Butcher tells Vogelbaum that he'll kill his entire family if he doesn't testify, really hitting home what Grace Mallory said to him earlier.
I have no doubt you'd be happy with that unending cycle of brutality.
Not only did Vogelbaum imprison his wife, Butcher's amped to take out his rage on someone he sees parallels with his father. Both men restrict parents, going above and beyond in their cruelty to their children to prepare them for a harsh world. Grace offers Mother's Milk a flight to Nicaragua with his family, which he says he'll do when the job is done. But as Grace says, the job is never done. This scene really surprised me. Mother's Milk has been wanting to be reunited with his family all season, but my guess is that they're setting something up for his character here. Frenchie and Kimiko watch after Newman as protesters rage outside her apartment chanting "Send her back." It's as if pulled straight from the headlines when AOC spoke out against similar chants against fellow Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. But really this scene is about bonding between Frenchie and Kimiko. Kimiko opening up to teach him his first word of sign language, and of course it's gun. Frescas for all at what appears to be Alistair Adana's birthday, the head of the Church of the Collective. Eagle the Archer, the man who helped the Deep when he was rock bottom drunk at a water park in Sandusky, Ohio, has been excommunicated from the church after he refused to cut off his mother. In retaliation, the church released a sex tape of him where he hunts and chases someone wearing a deer costume. Hey, whatever you're into. Also, if you search soupporn.com, it just takes you to the boys' website, so don't try, guys. Adana says things are looking good for getting them both back into the Seven, and with Starlight, Black Noir, and Shockwave, who I'm not sure was officially signed into the Seven just yet, looking like they're out, this could be their time. Ryan loves to create stop-motion Lego animations of popular films like The Blind Side and Terms of Endearment, and it's here we really see Stormfront intruding into the family, telling Ryan they can do cool things like sleepovers, watch Homelander's violent movies, and trips to Voughtland. Becca doesn't like this, telling Homelander that the best thing for Ryan is him to grow up with his mother, something Homelander should know because he never grew up with one. Homelander agrees, but in true Homelander fashion, turns Ryan against her, showing him how his entire life was a lie. Everything around him is fake, the house, the community. Is his mother fake too? He and Stormfront take off with Ryan leaving Becca alone, and it's pretty obvious she'll be turning to Butcher next episode for help. Lamplighter reveals the real reason for helping Huey break into Vought. He wants to kill himself in front of his own statue, which they've taken away. These subsequent flames turn on the sprinkler system, which allows Starlight enough power to break free from her cell, but during her escape she's attacked by Black Noir. It's Maeve, however, who comes and saves the day by feeding Black Noir an almond joy, which he's allergic to. It makes this scene a few episodes ago all the better. Fun fact, the actor who plays Black Noir actually has a tree nut allergy, which was was the inspiration for this, and we see a part of his face for the first time. Who would have thought that Black Noir was black? Huey ends up saving Starlight's mother. She remembers him from the Believe Festival way back in season 1. And when he's finally reunited with Starlight, his face is like, I'm not a cuck. And the final scene is just a glorious head-exploding mess as Dr. Vogelbaum prepares to testify before the Judiciary Committee. His head, along with countless others, explode, and Stormfront and Homelander watch on, not really as concerned as those around them. I'd put money on this being the work of Cindy, who we saw explode brains last episode. She was also likely the soup working for Stormfront to take out Agent Raynor way back in episode 1. It's not exactly clear if Homelander was in on it, but this stinks of Stormfront and Stan Edgar. Now, I looked all throughout the background actors to see if Cindy was there, and I couldn't find her, so I'm wondering if she's in the room at all. Can she use her powers through a television, or is she somehow hidden in a vent, or perhaps watching through the window? Whatever it is, the boys' plans to stop Vought for good have come to a crashing halt, as their two key witnesses have died. That's it for today's video. Only one more episode of The Boys left, so make sure you've liked and subscribed so you're notified as soon as my season 2 video drops. For more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
Daddy's home.